Hi everyone, welcome back in module Always Encrypted. So, as you can guess from the name that it says always encrypted means data remains encrypted always, whether it is on the client or on the server, or when we send data from client to server or from SQL server to client. So in always encrypted feature, client application encrypts the data and send the encrypted data over the wire to the SQL Server database engine. So if any hacker is monitoring the packets on the wire, then he cannot steal any information that is sent from the client application to the server. On the other hand, when client application need to render the data that is stored on the SQL server, then the query results return the encrypted data on to the client, and client application further decrypt the encrypted data received from the query result and renders on the application. So in always encrypted feature, data remains encrypted not only on the SQL server but also when it travels from server to client or from client to server. So let's see the what are the limitations that were in the earlier version of the SQL server encryptions. In the earlier version of SQL servers, when we have column based encryption, then the data remains encrypted only on the SQL server, but when we send the data from the server to client, then data does not remain encrypted. Instead, SQL server sends data in the query result was as in the plain text. Another limitation was the encryption key that is used to encrypt the data remain itself with the database, so someone having key and the encrypted key can easily decrypt the data, so this make the data less secure. But on the other hand, in SQL Server 2016, with the always encrypted feature, encryption key does not belong to database. Instead, client holds the encryption key, so only client application is able to decrypt or encrypt data. We will see later details on the keys in later next slides. So let's see the different use cases where always encrypted feature can address some complex security problems very easily. So let's consider first use case where any customer has a client application and the database both on premise, but customer wants to outsource their database management to some third party vendor where he does not want to expose their sensitive data or information to third party vendor. So always encrypted feature is a good solution here, because with the always encrypted feature, data that external or third party vendor will receive that will remain encrypted, and SQL server does not store any key in case of always encrypted, so the third party vendor will be powerless to decrypt any data that it will receive. So as I stated earlier, the encryption key will remain only with the client application, so the only client application can decrypt the information that is encrypted in the database. So in this case, always encrypted feature is very powerful. Another business case can be when a customer have on-premise application hosting but the data hosting is with the Azure provider. So in this case, if the customer deals with the sensitive data and information and he does not want to display its sensitive information to the Azure data provider, then always encrypted feature will be helpful here, as in the always encrypted feature once again data will be remain encrypted with the Azure provider, and Azure provider does not have any key to decrypt that data. Only client that hosted its data on the Azure, he can able to decrypt the data when it will received. So there can be multiple scenarios where always encrypted can be best solution.